lifted. The quake, which also injured hundreds, was centered off the coast of rural mountainous Hualien County, where some buildings leaned at severe angles, their ground floors crushed. Just over 150 kilometers away in the capital of Taipei, tiles fell from older buildings and schools evacuated their students to sports fields, equipping them with yellow safety helmets. That's all for now. Thanks for watching.
Hello, dear viewers, and welcome to a new episode of Business Insider. I'm your host, Mohammed Abdirahim, and tonight we'll be talking about sustainable development goals and Egypt's vision and strategy in achieving the 17 SDGs. And this will be in the company of our dear guest here with us in the studio, Dr. Naveen Nakhla, Professor of Strategic Management at the AAST. And she is also a board member of a number of national NGOs, non-governmental organizations. A very good evening to you, Dr. Naveen. Always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you. Good evening to you and to all our viewers.
Thank you, Dr. Naveen. And allow us, please, Dr. Naveen and dear viewers, first to watch a report on our main topic for tonight, and then we'll come back and start our discussion. Please stay with us.
Minister of Petroleum and Mineral Resources Tariq El-Molla said that the state is planning to lure major foreign investments in the oil and gas industry while working on increasing the supply of electricity generated from new and renewable resources to 42% by 2035. El-Molla made the remarks during a meeting with Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli to follow up on the progress made in some of the ministry's working files and availability of petroleum products, especially ahead of Eid al-Fitr holiday expected to start on April the 10th. He said some of the world's largest corporations are now engaged in research and exploration activities in the Mediterranean as part of an ambitious gas exploration program that seeks to boost the country's strategic petroleum reserves to meet local market needs and secure a sufficient surplus for export purposes. The minister added that the state is also working on scaling up the efficiency of oil and natural gas wells to maintain high production rates. As for international cooperation, Molla cited a memorandum of understanding the ministry had recently signed with its peer in Ecuador to promote cooperation in various domains and study how to make use of Egypt's expertise to connect homes in Ecuador with gas supply networks, convert vehicles to run on natural gas, and establish compressed natural gas fueling stations. Earlier, Egypt also signed last month 7 memoranda of understanding in the field of green hydrogen and renewable energy with 7 global developers with expected investments worth $41 billion over 10 years. The signing of the memos of understanding represent a new step in a series of investment partnerships with major global companies to establish projects in the field of green hydrogen in the Suez Canal Economic Zone.
Welcome back, dear viewers, and thank you very much to Abir Hussein and Rasha Abdelhamid for this report. We're back here in the studio with Dr. Naveen Nakhla, Professor of Strategic Management. Dr. Naveen, there have been a lot of efforts in Egypt, especially in the last 10 years since His Excellency President Sisi took over in achieving the Sustainable Development Goals. How do you see those efforts?
First of all, I want to congratulate all Egyptians and to congratulate you because today is the first day after the Parliament swearing of our beloved President, His Excellency, yesterday for a third term. And this is the first day, and I think that the new Republic, the new Egypt, his vision and Egypt Vision 2030 will continue to grow and will continue very strongly in the files of sustainable development. We saw in the last few years that Egypt is one of the highest countries in the region and in Africa that are reaching a lot of sustainable development goals. And we saw also that this file is one of the priorities of Egyptian state and all ministries. And we saw the harmony between all ministries and all governmental and social and NGOs and all the community. They are working together in a full ecosystem to reach the 2030 strategic vision and the sustainable goals, the sustainable development goals. A lot have been taken, a lot of work done, especially in the green economy, and this is one of the priorities in the SDGs, to have a green economy.
Allow us, Dr. Naveen, to take the 17 SDGs one by one,
okay,
if we can. So according to the United Nations classification, number 1 is no poverty.
No poverty. We saw that 60% of Egyptians, they are served and continue to be served under Haya Karima, and under
the presidential initiative, of course.
The largest presidential initiative in the
history
world.
of Egypt, yeah.
In the world, not only in Egypt, that is tackling poverty in 60% of the villages, 60% of the Egyptians, and around 4,500 or 4,600 villages average, reaching them with a lot of services, not only as infrastructure, not only clean water, sewage, the normal decent life for these places, but also economic development, a lot of building human, a lot of building characters, a lot of leadership programs, a lot
education
of
and
education,
health as well, yeah.
Awareness. Today we had one of the biggest initiatives from the Ministry of Communication, the Ministry of Communication and Technology. It's called she is the role model for women entrepreneurs all over Egypt that are having a small business, to help them how to market themselves, how to market their products, and how to go from the unofficial business, from the unofficial economy to the official economy, and to register their businesses. So this is one of the initiatives taking place in Haya Karima and all over Egypt. We saw the Ministry of Youth with a lot of training, a lot of awareness. We saw, of course, the Ministry of Social Solidarity, a lot of work, a lot of training, a lot of human building. We saw a lot of NGOs. I am board member in 3 NGOs, and we saw that a lot of work done on the ground for awareness and for initiatives, helping the initiatives of the government to spread and to outreach. We saw a lot of initiatives from different organizations, international NGOs.
So as you mentioned, this is a cooperation between the government, the private sector, and NGOs.
Yes, and all the community together in one full ecosystem to no poverty, and also
despite the economic challenges, because there are big economic challenges.
Exactly. We are in the month of Ramadan. Happy Ramadan to everyone. And you see the good, and you see that no one is sleeping hungry, everyone is serving, everyone is...
Goal number 2 is zero hunger. So tell us about...
Exactly.
What has been done in this file.
So in this file, we saw the initiative of Kitf, shoulder to shoulder.
Yes.
And we saw that also something very visionary took place in Egypt that I really respect, and we should all look onto it with full respect. The cooperation of all the NGOs, the 33 big NGOs, cooperated together under one umbrella, the Federation of NGOs, because we have in Egypt different, the big 33 NGOs, they work differently. One NGO is working in food, the other NGO is working in, let's say, health issues and making sure that everyone is taking the medicine, everyone is making free operations, even if it's big amount of operation money-wise. We saw NGOs that have branches all over Egypt serving convoys, medical convoys or food convoys. We saw NGOs for the food. They are all in one umbrella, under one umbrella. The good thing about it that no one is overserved or no one is underserved. All days before having the AI and the technology and digitalizing the whole system of needy people or people that are taking
subsidies or help, yes.
Yeah, it was like you have people that are very well trained to know how to knock doors on all the NGOs and get benefit. And other people, they are very humble and they do not go out of their houses. So now this is not the case. Now everyone is served because there is a digitalized data, and they are cooperated together. So they know who's doing what where. And like in the initiative Shoulder to Shoulder, we saw millions of cartons, millions of food, millions of giving and distributed equally and fairly everywhere.
And are all of those working in such initiatives volunteers, or do some of them get paid?
Some of them are administratives, but not much paid, I mean.
Okay.
Almost volunteers. But the good thing also about it, the good thing about our country and about the New Republic and about Egypt today, that few years ago, we didn't have the norm of volunteering. Few youth would know how to volunteer or what to do. Or maybe if they volunteer, they will only volunteer in the holy month of Ramadan to just pack few cartons or do some cook few food, but the rest of the 11 months, they are not volunteering. Today, this is not the case.
The culture of volunteering has spread in Egypt.
Exactly, spread strategically. We saw that there are some universities, they do not let their students graduate. They don't give them the graduation certificate except when they volunteer for a certain, especially for the literacy classes. So this is changing the culture and changing the behavior. And youth, instead of saying that they're not happy, they saw the happiness of serving. And this is the ultimate. Doctors and science and researchers, they always say that this is the ultimate happiness when you give.
Indeed, Dr. Naveen, indeed. Goal number 3 is good health and well-being, and I guess a lot has been done, especially in this fight.
Yeah, a few years ago, when we were here on TV, and we say that Egypt will have free medication and free, free medication, for everyone, for public health for everyone, people would say, how can you do that? That's not possible. But we saw Port Said. We saw this city, how everyone is served with no one is left behind, like the slogan of the New Republic, no one is left behind. So we saw the many initiatives of 100 million health. We saw the initiative of the cancer for women.
Virus C.
Also, 10 years ago, Virus C was a main reason for a
many
lot.
deaths in Egypt.
Many deaths. the
now
amount.
Egypt is free.
We are free, and these are not only miracles, these are strategic planning. These are educated, dedicated people that are serving their country under the visionary of His Excellency, our beloved President, and really working together in teamwork. All ministers now, when there is an initiative or there is a strategic goal or a strategic plan, everyone is working together. We saw during COP27 how Egypt was representing all the sustainable development goals, the green economy, everything, the projects, everything, a lot of protocols, a lot of cooperation between private and public and international, the European Development Bank, the United Nations, a lot of things taken place.
Indeed. Dr. Naveen, gender equality is goal number 4 of the United Nations SDGs, and we've also seen great strides, I guess, in gender equality in Egypt. A lot of care for women empowerment in Egypt.
Yeah, we are living the golden era for women in Egypt. Women in Egypt resembles 49% average, 49%, almost half the community. And women of Egypt taken a lot of respect from His Excellency, and we are the first country in the region that we have a strategic vision for women empowerment and for women. Women empowerment in Egypt is not words, is not...
It's not a slogan.
It's not a slogan. We saw judges, we saw ministers, we saw women in head of decision making in Egypt, and we saw our lovely ministers. They are very strong, very powerful, very educated, very efficient and impactful to our country.
And we are seeing great care for the education of young girls, for the development of the skills of young women, young business women.
Exactly.
Legislation.
Exactly. A lot of laws. Before this constitution, there was in the inheritance things, a lot of things. We can take a full episode talking about it in the constitution. This has changed, that women are very fairly and equally treated in inheritance. We saw the file of violence against women, and a lot of laws and a lot of things taken place in this area. Also, if we look onto education, around 50-something% of women are PhD holders and doctorate degree holders, even more than men in Egypt.
So we have more women holders of PhD in Egypt than men?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Very nice piece of information, really.
And also, we see that in the parliament, they are very well representative. So we are in our golden era, and a lot of initiatives for women, like the one I was telling you about this morning. We had this initiative of women role model for entrepreneurs, giving hands to all women of Egypt.
Indeed, great strides in that specific area. Goal number 5, clean water and sanitation. And I guess this is where Haya Karima played a big role in the most needy rural villages.
Yes, clean water and sanitation, aligning of the canals. This was very important for the distribution of water for the plantations. We saw that these villages, before Haya Karima, before Decent Life Initiative, they did not have clean water. They were not living a decent life. And these are facts. And we saw that it took from Egypt a lot of money, billions of pounds, billions of dollars, and still our government and our political will is continuing to work hard and continuing to give decent life to everyone. No one is left behind. No village will live in not a decent life. So we are taking very good steps in this SDGs.
Indeed, Dr. Naveen, affordable and clean energy is the next SDG, number 7. And I guess Egypt is very clear in its vision for clean energy.
Yes, we saw also during COP27 and after that, and recently, 3-4 days ago, Her Excellency Dr. Rania Al-Mashot, Minister of International Cooperation, she made another protocol with the United Nations, UN SDGs, something CP, something like that.
Yeah.
And this is all
UNSDCF,
yes,
right?
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
It's United Nations.
SDCF?
Yes. So a lot of protocols, a lot of cooperation between private and public and NGOs for the clean and affordable energy. We saw in Suez Canal zone the wind energy. We saw the solar energy, Banban in Luqsor, in Aswan, and we saw a lot, Ad-Dab'a, a lot of examples and a very serious file that Egypt is taking very serious steps, because with affordable energy, clean and green energy, it gives, create jobs, create clean water, clean environment, very good for the carbon
the reduction of carbon emissions.
And for the sustainability of energy in Egypt, and for reducing waste, circular economy, and a lot.
And it's in adherence with the international community's goals for a clean environment, and Egypt is really playing a leading role, isn't it, in that regard? Before COP27 and after COP27.
Exactly. Even in the green hydrogen, a lot, and Egypt is going to be a hub for a lot of clean, green, affordable energy. And this is a priority to reach the Vision 2030 and the Sustainable Development Goals.
Dr. Naveen, industry, innovation and infrastructure, SDG number 8, and Egypt has spent a lot on infrastructure in the past 10 years and also has given some legislation and other incentives to boost the industry sector and support innovation. Tell us about that file.
I like very much one day when His Excellency was in one of the meetings with the ministries and with other people, and he told, please, if you catch someone working in industry and he's not registered, don't close his factory. Help him register and be in the official economy of Egypt. So this shows the political will, and this shows the strategic view of how the industry is very important. And there is no industry and there is no building without infrastructure. If you have a factory or you have a plantation, agribusiness or plantation, and you don't have the roads to connect to the port, things will ruin. In old researches in Egypt, we saw that a lot of wasted plantations and wasted products and wasted energy was because of the transportation and the infrastructure. So the last few years, we saw Egypt has done a great success in the infrastructure. And connected Egypt. Today, before I came, I was going from Nasr City to the Smart Village. And you're talking about all days, it would take 3 hours or something. With the new roads, you can go from anywhere to anywhere.
In less than an hour.
In less than an hour. And this is for the industry and for the business and for the investment, for attracting investment. You have to have the infrastructure.
That's besides the fact that, of course, infrastructure will live for generations and generations to come. It's not just for this generation, it's for the future generations.
Exactly. So short-sighted people that are asking, why are we doing all these bridges? Short-sighted people that are asking, why are we spending in this infrastructure? They will reap the good out of it. They will understand the importance. Anyone educated, anyone knowledgeable will understand the importance of an infrastructure of a country. We see that a lot of countries around the world, big and small, with no seas, how they are trapped and how the infrastructure plays a big role in the development of people, development of countries. Now, if you want to go and do training to any of the border cities of Egypt, it's very easy to reach them and to be there. If you want to send medical convoys, if you want to do anything, Egypt is reachable. There is no city or place that is not connected.
And the fact that expanding in infrastructure and investment creates jobs.
Of course.
And one of the SDGs is decent work and economic growth.
Exactly. Decent jobs. Let me give you an example on the ground from Haya Karima, from Decent Life Initiative. In Decent Life Initiatives, one of the goals was to put fiber optics for the villages that chosen for the phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 of Decent Life Initiative. And what they did, a Ministry of Technology and Communication, they made a big initiative for youth. And they taught them how to put the fiber optics, how to work in it. And they went back to and gave them the jobs in their cities and in their villages. So it is creating decent jobs in the villages from the development and from the building.
Indeed.
And to be part of it. Because, if you go to a village and you build this village or you do any sustainable development goal, and people are just sitting watching and they're not involved, and their kids are not involved in this, they will not feel the belongings. So training, job creation, and working in their villages, in this developed areas. A lot of librarians in the libraries that opened in the villages, a lot of small economic development projects for youth and women in the villages, and with international organizations and the Social Solidarity Ministry. They made a lot of initiatives. They trained them, made awareness, and made them know how to work and help themselves and market their products.
And what you said right now, Dr. Naveen, in fact, is an explanation or serves another SDG goal number 10, which is the reduction of inequalities. So what you were saying right now was indeed in that track. What else did we do in the file of, other than the reduction of gender, what used to be gender inequalities? What else can you tell us about this file, the reduction of inequalities?
We saw that before Decent Life Initiative as well. This initiative is really a great thing. Before that, we saw that people from the village, the gap between people from the village was so large to people in the cities, so large gap. And the knowledge and the education and the standard of living, it was a very big gap. Today is bridging the gap. And by developing these villages and creating jobs inside the villages and making it even for the site that looks beautiful, like old ages when you used to see the green and the lining of the canal. And I mean, so by keeping this, we are keeping the migration from villages of Upper Egypt or villages around Egypt to the city to work as workers or technicians or whatever. So this is also serving the inequality of the standard of living, inequality of decent life, inequality for youth, for children. Also, we saw this by the health initiatives and the health giving.
Many clinics.
Many clinics, many polyclinics,
well.
many...
in the needy villages.
Exactly. So...
Indeed.
And the spread, not only in the villages, but also in the border cities of Egypt.
The geographical distribution, indeed, of these efforts is very clear, as you are mentioning, Dr. Naveen. Responsible consumption and production, SDG number 12. I do understand what is responsible production, but I don't understand how can responsible consumption be achieved unless it is by by the people themselves. So tell us about SDG number 12 and what has been done in this file.
Yeah, first of all, if we are talking about the green economy, if we are talking about factories, the new factories all over Egypt and the law to see these factories waste and sustainable, how they circulate the waste. There is a say that...
the recycling, yes.
The recycling. There is a say that says that what comes from land, back to land, and what comes from industry, back to industry. So this is taking place in most of the industrial zones and in the factories of Egypt. Waste management, recycling, clean energy, green energy. This is very important, and this is all about this SDG.
Would responsible production include something like, depending on the local component, or focusing on the production of the most important items?
Okay, responsible means in the SDGs that you leave the resources sustainable. You do not ruin the resources, especially the natural resources for the coming generations. So being responsible in the carbon emission, being responsible in the production itself, in the waste, in everything. So
understood.
Yeah.
So the next SDG goal is climate action, being responsible in reduction of carbon emissions.
Exactly.
And I guess, again, Egypt has played a leading role, and it continues to play a leading role in combating global warming and in looking for a clean, healthy environment for itself and for its neighbors and the world. The political will is obvious, and also the actions that are taken in this field is very obvious.
Yes, and also I will come back to the word called green economy. And the wind energy, the solar energy, all the big initiatives that is taking place in Egypt, the green hydrogen, all this put together in different areas around the country, very strategically and very calculated, scientifically calculated. We are supposed to start exporting
green hydrogen.
Exactly, and we are planning to be a hub for the whole region. So I mean, Egypt is on a very, very straightforward and very high place in the SDGs.
Indeed, Dr. Naveen. Life below water and life on land, that's goals 14 and 15. What can you tell us about those two goals, life below water and life on Land.
A lot also of things taken place on land, as we saw all the initiatives we talked about and all the construction, all the development, and all the taking care of the resources, natural resources, and greenery, and all this. In water also, a lot following the UNEP, the United Nations Environmental Program, in our seas and our sea health and our fish health, and also we know that there is a lot of initiatives and projects for fish and
right.
so
Indeed. Because we are running out of time, so that's why I'm taking the goals. I want to finish the 17 goals before we finish the episode. So goal number 16, peace, justice, and strong institutions.
Yes.
So tell us, what has Egypt done in the last 10 years in this fight?
I am happy because this year, His Excellency yesterday, he announced that this year is the year of the peace in Egypt. And I'm sure that like in the year of women, what His Excellency planned for Egypt, for women, and in the year of the social, the social, what do you call it? The
Solidarity?
Solidarity, the year of the, a lot has taken, and there is when the 33 NGOs made together one big federation to serve Egypt. So I'm sure that this year we are going to sit after a few months together, and this is a file that will take place in Egypt to follow the last
efforts
for this SDG. But we see also that Egypt is a very
it has always been the most peaceful country in the world.
Exactly.
Most peaceful people.
Very politically stable, very human rights are very taken care of. We have a lot of peace initiatives, a lot of people with all their differences from Upper Egypt to Delta to Alexandria to Cairo, with all the religion, with all the, you see the languages, everything. We have peace and love between us.
It's always been the case, and it will always be the case.
And it will always be the case.
That's easy for Egyptians.
Egypt.
This is the nature.
Exactly.
This is the nature of Egypt and the nature of Egyptians, Dr. Naveen.
True.
Finally, goal number 17, partnerships for the goals. So I guess part of the partnerships would be the fact that the government and you at the NGOs, for instance, and the private sector are working together. And the other part, I would guess, would be partnerships with international institutions or friendly countries.
Yes, we saw Egypt in the file of Africa, and how a lot of partnership for our continent. First, you see your house and you see your continent, your lovely fruit basket to the world, Africa, and how the cooperation between the African countries and Egypt. We saw cooperation, a lot of cooperation, and a lot of projects like the NWAF project, the new project with the United Nations for the Sustainable Development, cooperation with the European Development Bank, cooperations with China, cooperations with Japan. I mean, Egypt, in this goal specifically, we saw even the cooperation of building new city in Al Hikma with the GCC area region. I mean, we are very serious also about this SDG, and we are very successful and one of the best countries in the world.
Finally, Dr. Naveen, what are the challenges in the upcoming period to, in the face of continuing to achieve strongly in the 17 SDGs? And what is it that you want to see happen more, or where do you want to see more efforts, directed to so we can really continue to build on what we have achieved in the past 10 years.
It's not only what I see, it is what is in the pipeline of the political will and of Egypt file. We will see this coming year a lot of industry, a lot of manufacturing, a lot now the infrastructure is ready. We were living on 7% of the land in Egypt a few years ago. Egyptians were living only on 7% of the land. Today it's doubled, almost doubled or even more. Expanding new cities, 14 new smart cities around Egypt. A lot of new industrial zones like the Suez Canal zone and others, all the others. So we will, in the coming era, the coming years, we'll see a lot of industry, a lot of manufacturing, and a lot of production. This will create more job creation, better economical situation, and we are ready for it. You know, when you build a building, you have to go...
You have a strong foundation.
Yeah, you have to go deep down to do your foundation. So when you go up, if any challenge comes or anything comes...
You find yourself on steady feet.
On steady feet. So we have taken our time. Egypt took its time to build the infrastructure, to build for development.
The future, yes.
And now it's our years to go up.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Thank you very much, Dr. Naveen Nakhla, Professor of Strategic Management at the AAST, the Arab Academy for Science and Technology, and also a board member of 3 leading NGOs here in Egypt. It's always a pleasure to have you with us.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Naveen, and thank you, dear viewers, for watching Business Insider. This is Mohammed Abdirahim, and this is Good Night.